Hello guys and welcome here to the first ever GCN race day. This is a pre-race show for the Daytona 500 which will start in just a little bit here. I'm Brian James. Today during GCN race day we're going to cover a recap of speedweeks. We will then get to your Jello Cup Series best moment and we'll preview the Daytona 500 all here today as we get you set for the great American race. Anyway, let's start out by and we'll also have driver introductions. I forgot about that. We will have those at the end before we throw things up to the booth and get ready for Countdown to Green and the Daytona 500. Anyway, without further delay, let us recap speedweeks. It's time for your speedweeks recap. Take a look at this incredible save in opening practice for the go-or-go-homers. A near wreck for Patrick Smith, the defending champ. This is the onboard of the 66, and just look at how close that was. If he had crossed the front bumper of the 66, it would have been over. Top 33 practice now. You see Gene Sanford, Chris Smith, they go for a wild ride with Max Anderson. No one flips over, thankfully. Scott Upton would prevail as Chris Smith there spins it back around. No major damage. None of them go to the rear. But Scott Upton in the 37 prevails as the fastest of that group. So he's definitely a threat here today. Pole qualifying now. Kevin McHugh, a familiar face up top at the Daytona 500. And he will do it again here. He wins the pole for the great American race. And now off to the Corona Clash. Charles Sanford would win the pole for that on the random draw. The green flag flies in what would be a mostly eventful race, or mostly eventless, or not so eventful race, rather. As you see here, the only event here, Dick Clark gets behind the 77, Diego Yepez, and Yepez goes for a little spin. These guys going to have to cut the dog leg to avoid, or the bus stop to avoid him. And at the end of the day, we got a green-white checkered, and Tim Randolph would prevail in that number 43. He's been fast all speed weeks. He's locked into the Daytona 500 as he will start toward the front today. Now we move on to the blue-green duel number 1. And here Kevin McHugh, Charles Sanford. Sanford pretty upset, I'm sure. He did not win the pole or the front row as it was spoiled by Nonigan Scott. More on him in a minute. Anyway, green flag waves in blue-green duel number 1. You see they're side by side. Sanford would hit the wall on lap 3. But a major save. It could have been a big and disastrous wreck there. And it ended up being not an eventful duel 1 as Giorgio Stuma wins a caution-free duel here. Now, I can't say the same about blue-green duel number 2. Nonigan Scott would lead them to the green with Ben Crouch. Anyway, then we fast forward to about 5 laps to go. Actually, 4 laps to go. Huge wreck entering turn 1. They go 3 wide and cause a huge wreck. You see Stacy Stickler, Zach Fitzwater, Dan Hummel get involved. As you look on back, Nonigan Scott would blow his engine. He's going to start this race from the rear. But just take a look at this. And nowhere to go for a lot of these guys. They're scattering down low, doing everything they can to avoid this wreck. And Diego Yepez also sustains heavy damage. He'll start in dead last. But a lot of guys going to the rear after this. But this is not over, as you see it. And also it would cost Ahmad Mihailovic his chance of making the Great American Race. He is one of the 4 that failed to qualify. Green-white checkered. Our first attempt of overtime, the 43 and the 17 slide off, cause a huge wreck once again. More cars taken out in this, and a lot more cars going to the rear. You see there, they just hooked each other. Stacy Stickler got underneath them. Maybe that contributed to it. a few of these guys would get their cars repaired and get back on the track before the damage clock kicked in. But in the final GCN overtime, it would be Stacy Stickler coming out with the win in that duel, as now we will focus on the, and we'll be right back. As mentioned at the top of the show, the Jello Cup Series is entering season number 5 here, and we wanted to know in the off-season what your favorite moment in Jello Cup Series history was. There were 2 rounds of voting, and in the final round, you guys had the choice between Luis Hernandez's 16th seed to first to win the Jello Cup Series championship in Season 1. Nathan Faden takes a huge hit and flips, and then Brad Fusion goes on to win an upset at Atlanta in Season 2. Diego Yepez's 4-win season and a championship in Season 3. And in Season 4, Charles Sanford's big Jello Cup Series first career win at Daytona, which you see in your Jello Cup Series intro all the time. Anyway, without further delay, let's reveal to you the winning moment with 66% of the vote. No way they're going to get formed in time. Diego Yepez brings Starcom Racing their first win at Daytona. Congratulations to that group. Coming out of the final corner. Can anyone challenge the 00? I don't think it's going to happen. Diego Yepez for the first time in Jello Cup Series history. We have a back-to-back race winner. Yepez win number 2 of the season here at Pigs Creek. They won back-to-back at Pigs Creek and Daytona. They now get their 3rd win of the year and take the lead in the playoff standings. Yepez with his 3rd win here at Iowa. Yepez, Diego Yepez, he got 3 wins mid-season. And he's not done winning yet. Diego Yepez gets his 4th career win here today at Darlington. Correction out of turn 4. And Hillary Sanchez wins at Zenjoltis. Maybe runner-up isn't a bad thing after all. Diego Yepez. 3rd year in a row for Team Chevy. And the first championship for this promising rookie. And this young race team. Congratulations to them. A job well done this season. We want to congratulate Diego Yepez on that amazing Season 3. That is your Jello Cup Series best moment in history, as voted on by you guys. If you didn't vote, I'm sorry. I just want to end that segment on a little note here. Obviously, I'm happy for Diego Yepez. Congratulations to him. And, Charles Sanford and the rest of these guys got nothing to be ashamed of. I definitely personally thought it was Charles Sanford's photo finish, as it was the closest in Jello Cup Series history. But again, it's not my vote, it's your decision. And Diego Yepez's season, it was fun covering. He, of course, as mentioned in the clips, he was the first back-to-back winner in Jello Cup Series history. He was a 4-time winner that season. He is also a Season 3 champ, as mentioned. And Hillary Sanchez in there, her 5th career win, was also in that clip. So, a lot of good stuff, and I apologize for the construction noise in the background. But again, congratulations to Diego Yepez. He will unfortunately be starting at the back today in the Jello Cup Series Daytona 500, but it will be his first season back since his championship run with Starcom Racing. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to him this season, and we want to wish the 77 team great luck as they will essentially try to go for championship number 2, even though they are not the defending champions in this series. And that leads us to the next point. We are going to head trackside now. I'll be back in just a moment. We're actually going to head trackside for your driver intros for the Jello Cup Series. Let's meet the drivers. Time to meet the drivers who will be starting in the 5th ever Jello Cup Daytona 500. Starting in 40th, driving the number 77 for Premium Spire Motorsports, Diego Yepez. Starting in 39th, driving the number 95, Levine Family Racing Toyota, Carter Joey. Starting in 38th, driving the number 48 for Western New York Autosport, Austin Shaw. Starting in 37th, driving the number 96, Gaunt Brothers Racing Toyota, it's Charles Sanford. Starting in 36th, driving the number 8, Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet, Eric Faden. Starting in 35th, driving the number 24 for Hendrick Motorsports, Matt Hussey. Starting in 34th, driving the number 19, Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota, it's Ben Crouch. Starting in 33rd, driving the number 1 for Chip Ganassi Racing, Frodemar Otts. Starting in 32nd, driving the number 9, Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet, Rusty Potts. Starting in the 31st spot, driving the number 18, Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota, it's Samet Ozkan. Starting in 30th, driving the JTG Doherty Chevrolet, it's Joshua Scully. Starting in 29th, driving the Rick Ware Racing Ford, Gene Sanford. Starting in 28th, driving the number 3 for Richard Childress Racing, it's Nathan Faden. Starting in 27th, driving the 65 Western New York Autosport Chevrolet, it's Rihanna G. Starting in 26th, driving the number 51 Rick Ware Racing Chevrolet, Jeff Scott. And starting in 25th, driving the Rick Ware Racing Ford, number 52, Usman Hamid. Starting in 24th, driving the 37 JTG Doherty Chevrolet, it is Scott Upton. Starting in 23rd, driving the 93 Boyles Trucking Ford, is Ricky Johnson. Starting in the 22nd spot, driving the number 17 Roush Fenway Ford, it's Mohammed Zain Abdullah. Starting in 21st, driving the number 14 Stewart Haas Racing Ford, it's Alexander Rowe. Starting in 20th, driving the 22 Team Penske Ford, it is Mitchell Collins. Starting in 19th, driving the number 13 Germain Racing Chevrolet, Steve Morgan. Starting in 18th, driving the number 6 Roush Fenway Ford, is Trevor Collins. Starting in 17th, driving the number 5 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet, is Brad Stover. Starting in 16th, driving the number 25 Western New York Autosport Chevrolet, Dan Hummel. Starting in 15th, driving the number 21 Wood Brothers Ford, Max Anderson. Starting in 14th, driving the number 42 Chip Ganassi Racing Chevrolet, Chris Smith. Starting in 13th, driving the number 88 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet, Dick Clark. Starting in 12th, driving the number 4 Stewart Haas Racing Ford, Zach Fitzwater. Starting in 11th, driving the number 2 Team Penske Ford, Dylan Young. Starting in 10th, driving the number 10 Stewart Haas Racing Ford, Mina Monroe. Starting in 9th, driving the number 20 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota, is Delan Ibrahimian. Starting in 8th, driving the number 43 Richard Petty Motorsports Chevrolet, Tim Randolph. And starting in 7th, driving the number 12 Team Penske Ford, Tim Horton. Starting in 6th, driving the number 00 Starcom Racing Chevrolet, is Anthony Logan. Starting in 5th, driving the number 35, Go Fast Racing Ford, the defending champion, Patrick Smith. Starting in 4th, driving the number 41, Stewart Haas Racing Ford, it's Stacy Stickler. And starting in 3rd, driving the number 34, Front Row Motorsports Ford, is Giorgio Stumu. Now for the front row, starting in 2nd, driving the number 15, Premium Spire Motorsport Chevrolet, it's Nonigan Scott. And starting from the pole for the 2nd time ever in the Daytona 500, driving the number 11, Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota, it's Kevin McHugh. That is your starting lineup for the Jello Cup Series Daytona 500. Back to GCN Race Day right now. That's it for driver intros. Real quick, we want to pay attention to the guys who failed to qualify. That would be the 38 of Casey Naneko, the 32 of Hillary Sanchez, the 16 of Tyler Faden, and the 66 of Ahmad Mihailovic. They have all failed to qualify. That is a tough break. They will have to look forward to making their debuts at Las Vegas. Anyway, that actually brings us to the next 3 tracks on the schedule. Up next, we will head to Las Vegas. That'll be the Pennzoil 400. It'll be on YouTube on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Then we will head from Las Vegas to Phoenix. And that'll be for the Ticket Guardian 500. That'll be Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Both of them will only be on YouTube. They will not be on both like this race is today. I think that's all we got for GCN Race Day. We were going to have predictions. I was hoping to have some co-commentators. Unfortunately, for this show, I couldn't. Tune in a few minutes. The video's up on YouTube and it's on Premiere. Or tune in on Facebook Watch, as you are with this. And we will have Countdown to Green in just a few moments. Dan Hummel will be joining me for flag-to-flag coverage of the race, and we will make our predictions then. Until then, we want to thank you for watching GCN Race Day, the 5th season of the Jello Cup Series. The 5th season of the Jello Cup Series will kick off in just a moment. Until then, goodbye, everyone.